Hey, who's ready to make some pizza? Okay, this morning we had making pizza dough step 1, where we put 5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt in the bowl. We mixed it, and then in a mixing, a Pyrex clear liquid measurer, we put 2 1/4 cups of water, and we put a 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. Mix that together, let that kind of froth just a little bit. Then we made a well into the flour. Then we added that liquid in there, mixed it with a wooden spoon, zapped it in the mixer for about a minute until the dough created a ball and then pulled away from the sides. And then we covered it and we let it sit. It looks beautiful. You can actually smell it. It has a very distinct pizza dough smell. It's the yeast that's been working. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this magic pizza dough into 5 individual pizzas, because that's what the kids and I are having for dinner tonight, is individual pizzas. But I want you to know that what I'm going to show you, it might be Eastern time right now for you. So if it is, know that the dough, what I'm going to show you next, can sit for 24 hours. It can go till tomorrow. My dog's growling at something through the glass in the backyard. Must be a squirrel. But the dough can sit for 24 hours, and then you can pull it out tomorrow and finish off your pizza if you need to. So I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to show you how you take this ball of dough and turn it into beautiful pizza. So first, let me see if I can push the magic button, which turns it the count, which it does. Da, da, da. Okay, and then let me see. Okay, so from here, you can see that I've got all my pizza ingredients. I've got flour that I'm going to need for a second for my counter, and we're doing barbecued pizza tonight. So I've got stuff for barbecued pizza, pepperoni, pineapple, feta cheese, mozzarella, that kind of stuff. But down here is where we're going to do the pizza dough. Let me, my husband would laugh at my setup, but that's okay. Okay, so pizza dough. So, hey, Emily. Okay, so I am making pizza. So from here, and I'm actually gonna pop in here and see if I can see myself on my other screen so I can see what's going on. I don't think I can see the live going at the same time. Okay, so pizza dough. I'm gonna push this off to the side. See how big of a pattern. So I'm going to flour this surface on my counter. So I'm gonna take some flour and I'm gonna sprinkle it all over my counter. Now you can do this on a cutting board or piece of saran wrap if you need to. I'm gonna take the cover. Now I have flour on my hand. That helps because this is gonna be sticky right here, and all I'm trying to do is just peel this plastic cover away from the dough, and then I'm gonna throw this away. I've already washed my hands. I'm all set and ready to go. So I'm taking my bowl and I'm just gonna peel the dough away from the sides of the bowl, and I'm gonna turn out the dough onto the counter. So I'm turning out the dough right onto the flour, like so. Can you see that? My beautiful ball of dough smells so good. And I'm just gonna do like a light toss, not really a toss, but I'm just turning it around because the dough is sticky like it's supposed to be. So I'm just putting like a light coating of flour on the dough. And now I'm going to separate this into, this pile of dough actually makes up to 6 personal pizzas. See this happy plate that my son made? That's the size plate. The pizza will be just underneath that size. So what I do is I want 5 pieces of dough. So I'm gonna pinch off a ball of dough. I'm just gonna pinch off 5 pieces. Now, this is not easy to do, separating dough into 5. You're gonna see immediately that those are not even, and I can tell by the feel of the dough. So this one's a little too big, so I'm gonna pinch off, and I'm just gonna put enough dough with each of the balls so that they're about even. which they're about. This one's still a little too big. Can't have somebody get all the dough. Okay, and then I have some olive oil, and I'm gonna need a place to put the dough in a second so that you can see it. Let me actually get a piece of saran wrap. This is the best pizza dough. So I'm just gonna put the balls of dough here when I'm done so that you can see them. So here's the tricky part. Pizza is love, and pizza dough likes to be loved. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of olive oil and I'm gonna put it on my hands, and I'm going to put a little bit on top of the pizza dough. And then this part's a little tricky to explain with words, but I'm gonna take the pizza and I'm going to push my thumb up inside the pizza where I'm tucking the dough inside the pizza. This is just loving, gentle kneading of the dough up inside. See how I'm pushing that? Until I push it up inside and it makes like a little ball. Isn't that pretty? Then I'm gonna set that down. And then I'm gonna do that again for all of the dough. So I'm grabbing the dough. Hey, Cassandra. And what I'm doing is I am pushing the dough from the bottom up inside so that it ends up pushing the dough up into this little ball. This is just loving the pizza dough. You can make pizza super fast, but I'm telling you, it is nowhere as wonderful as this recipe is. Oops, a little sticky. Okay, so a little more flour on my hands. Picking up the pizza, pushing it up inside so that it starts to form. What's that movie that has the little dumplings that the mom she eats the dumpling at the end? It's like a little short movie. Anyway, pizza. These little balls of dough, pushing it up inside, resting it down. These are a little sticky, so I'm just turning it over to grab some extra flour on there. And it ends up, what this is doing is it's adding a little bit of extra air inside the dough. Once these balls of dough are done, ideally, if you're more patient than I am, you would set these balls of dough in the refrigerator and they would chill overnight. Then you'd pull them out about an hour before you roll the pizza dough. But we're not doing that. We're actually making pizza because that's actually what dinner is. So we're pushing the dough up inside so they make these nice, cute little balls. And then we're gonna add a tiny bit more of that olive oil. And then we're gonna knead the ball. See, is my hand in the right spot? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna twist and kind of push the pizza dough together. I'm just kneading it. You can see the air pockets coming out because there's lots of air in there from that yeast from this afternoon. And once it's kind of shaped that funny shape, I'm just setting it aside. It's just a gentle kneading, pushing of the dough, kind of pushing some of the air pockets out and up till it's kind of shaped funny. You set it aside. I'm doing that for all 5 of the pizza doughs. 6 is an easier number, but tonight we're doing 5. 6 because you can take the dough and pinch it in half, and then you can take those halves and pinch it in half. Pizza is fun. Yeah, there are so many lessons from pizza. Just making balls of dough, setting it aside. And then from here, now we're ready. So we've got the 5 balls of pizza dough. I have all my toppings. And then I have a couple tools. What I do, I'm gonna show you in my oven. My oven is set to 475 degrees and it's been heating for about an hour because I use Pampered Chef pizza stones. Now, if you've never used a Pampered Chef pizza stone, you might look at those stones and say, ew, gross. But if you've used a pizza stone, what you're seeing is well-loved, well-used, very seasoned pizza stone. So inside the oven, they've been heating with the oven. Now, what do you do if you don't have a pizza stone? You can absolutely use just a cookie sheet. And I've cooked pizzas on the bottom side of the cookie sheet. But the pizzas that I'm making, we're going to cook on top of parchment paper. And it makes it much easier to handle. So let me show you what you do. You need a rolling pin. And then you're just going to take some flour and kind of toss it around so that you have a floured surface. And then you're taking the pizza dough. I'll take the first one. Taking the pizza, and you tap it so that it grabs some of the flour on top. And then I'm just going to roll the pizza. So it's starting in the middle of the dough and pushing outward and then pulling back. Trying to see if I'm in the frame so you can see. So I'm going to push out and pull back. And the pizza dough is very elastic. It's going to stretch and then constrict again and come back on itself. All I'm trying to do is make the pizza dough, I keep turning it a little bit, making the pizza dough, and I need to put some effort because it doesn't want to roll. I'm just trying to make the pizza dough the same size as the parchment paper circle that I cut. So how did I do this? I simply cut out a strip of parchment paper, and then I used the serving plate. Isn't that cute? My 16-year-old made that. Used a serving plate as a tracing circle, and then I cut the parchment paper out. So I need all of my pizza doughs to be about the size of the paper. So I'm just gonna roll the pizza. So pushing it out till it gets to be kind of ovally shaped, and then I turn it around and then I go back and forth, just pulling on the dough. It's easier not talking, but that's no fun. Okay, getting there. Pizza loves attention. Back and forth, starting to really stretch. Now it's gonna constrict, so you're gonna tell me, hey Becky, that's bigger than the paper. And it is, but that's okay, because when I pick it up, let me put the parchment paper here. When I pick it up, it's going to constrict back onto the parchment paper. And this one is now ready to go. It's ready to be topped. So I'm gonna actually roll another one because I can cook 2 pizzas at a time in my oven. So here's the first one. Let me make myself some room. And let's roll another one. Little bit of flour, get that on the top, and then I'm gonna roll the dough. Am I in the right spot again? You would laugh. I have my phone on a little tripod sitting on top of a flour bucket so that you kind of get a bird's eye view of what I'm doing. See that beautiful bubble? This dough rose so beautifully today. Depending on where you live, you have to realize that pizza dough is temperamental. It likes love. It likes a certain kind of temperature. It likes a certain kind of humidity. And it doesn't want to tell you the details. It's like, no, I'm not going to tell you whether or not, hey, Linda, you know, you're up in Tehachapi. You know, in Tehachapi, making the dough was trickier because of the elevation. But here, where I live in Washington, what I'm fighting with the dough is the humidity. So the air will be really humid or cool. Today it was only about 45 degrees, and I need a little more flour. It was about 45 degrees here, and I was surprised that the dough looked like it was actually going to behave itself, because sometimes you can tell right away, ooh, that's going to be a stubborn batch of dough. So I'm just trying to stretch this slowly to get it to be, it doesn't have to be a circle, right? The kids like it when it is at least as big as the parchment paper. This one's being a little stubborn on the edges. Let me pull it more. Okay, that's good. And then this is kind of it. You just grab the pizza, whoops, grab the pizza and you put it on the parchment paper. If it gets temperamental like that, look at that. It's kind of like flubber. It doesn't want to behave right now. If it gets temperamental, you can kind of move it around with your hands. This one kind of did a funky chicken thing. So this will be mine. And what you do is you can still roll it a little bit on the parchment paper. Just trying to get it to be that size of a personal pan style pizza. We do this a lot. We have pizza every Friday. And I've made as many as 30 pizzas at a time like this because my husband has this magic oven called a Rockbox. And the Rockbox is actually a wood fire oven that you can either do wood or propane with. And that puppy makes the pizzas in 90 seconds. So when we have the youth group over or friends over, we'll make a big pizza buffet and then we'll just everybody will make pizzas and they just pop in and out all the time. Okay, so pizza. Forgot one ingredient. It's over here somewhere. Okay, so pizza. From here, it's just what do you want on your pizza? We are in a barbecue kick pizza, barbecued pizza. So some barbecue sauce with a spoon to move the spoon around. You don't want to put a lot because it doesn't need a lot. If you put too much barbecue sauce on a pizza, it's overpowering, but you can do tomato sauce. Everybody has their own personal preference. My husband's from Chicago, and when the Cubs were playing the World Series, he actually ordered Chicago pizza from Chicago to be delivered to Washington State so that the boys could experience Chicago pizza while watching the Chicago Cubs. And we discovered that the Chicago pizza was made with just crushed tomatoes. So the sauce wasn't very sweet like you would get in like a takeout pizza or the jars of like Classico or Prego. But you can use any kind of sauce for your pizza. Right now, I'm just really enjoying the barbecued pizza. So this is how I make my barbecued pizza. Put some barbecue sauce on there. And I actually want a little bit more. So this will be mine. I love garlic. This is when you'll be glad that you're on that side of the computer rather than here, because I like to use the garlic powder from Costco all over the pizza. It makes almost like a garlic bread flavor on the crust like you'd get at a restaurant. And then of course we need some mozzarella cheese, which I forgot to open. We do a lot of shopping at our big club store because our family is so big and the boys are always hungry. Some cheese and some pepperoni. So at this point, when the dough is like in this form, and if you really wanted to have it be the best that it can be, what you do is you take the dough like this and you place it on a greased sheet, just lightly greased with olive oil, and you put it in the you cover it with saran wrap and you put it in the fridge and it can rest overnight. It can rest overnight. And then you can pull it out about an hour before you cook. And then it'll be ready to go, ready to roll at that point. And it's better after it rests like that in the fridge overnight because the yeast has more time to do its magic. Now, I also love feta cheese. So I put feta on top of my pizza as well. This is mine. Feta cheese. I like a lot of feta. And I love pineapple. Now, I know there's a great debate about whether or not pineapple belongs on a pizza, but I say it's not pizza unless it has pineapple on top. And I like a lot of pineapple. And this is pretty much it. From here, I'm going to actually throw it in the oven and then end the video, and then I'll come back on when the pizza is done. Let me show you how to throw it in. My husband has this fancy tool called a cudgel, which I misplaced. Where is it? Here it is. We have a pizza cudgel, which makes picking up the pizza easier, so it just slips on like that. See, Emily, pineapple makes everything, makes pizza so good. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this and stay on camera. Whew, just got a blast. That might even set off my fire alarm, so we'll see. Okay, so then I'm just gonna take the pizza. I put the cudgel about halfway on my stone and I just do a gentle slide like that. And then the pizza takes about 15 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes at 450 degrees. And what I'm gonna do from here, set my timer because I want to check it at 13 minutes. What I'm going to do from here is end the video and then I'll come back on and show you the pizza when it comes out because it's fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed making pizza with me. I'm going to plug in my phone and recharge my battery a little bit so that when everything's done, I can show pizza when it's all done. But I love pizza and I think it's just wonderful. And I know some people get bored of eating the same thing over and over and over again. But there's something about pizza. I don't know. My family just absolutely loves it. It might show a little bit. But anyway, so if you love pizza, give us a thumbs up and I'll be back in a little bit and I'll show you the final result. Okay, have a good night and I'll see you soon. Bye.